Right. Hi guys, it's my 6th anniversary of arriving in Australia. I can't believe it's been this long, but what a perfect opportunity to talk about some of the grievances I have with my second home. So here are my 8 unpopular opinions about living in Australia. Hey, my name is Dan and I'm an expat and part-time YouTuber. If you want to learn more about my story of moving to Australia, check out the video up here. Of course, Australia is known for its beautiful landscapes, friendly people and unique wildlife, but as much as I love Australia, there are some things that I'm not too fond of and I'm gonna share them with you in this video. This video could really go sideways for me and I'm probably gonna get roasted in the comments for some of these, but you know, strapping myself in, can't wait. As we go through, make sure to let me know in the comments if you think I'm right or wrong or what other unpopular opinions you may have about Australia. Short disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm uninformed and ignorant, and while I've been here for 6 years, I've only seen parts of Australia. But with all of that said, I'm going to share my opinions anyway, so feel free to tell me how wrong I am. Number 1, Australians' obsession with bacon is absurd. People here love bacon. If you go to a cafe for breakfast, more than half of the dishes on the menu come with bacon. And if not, you order a side of bacon or extra bacon or bacon only. It's all about the bacon. As you can probably guess, I'm not the biggest fan of bacon and people are really shocked when I'm ordering something and ask for it without bacon. The reactions that I get from people when I tell them that I don't like bacon is the funniest thing. The disbelief and disappointment sits really deep and I can hear them thinking, how did they let this guy in? Number 2, driving in Australia is boring AF. Knowing that Australia is a dream for backpackers, I always assumed driving in Australia would be incredible and you'd be driving along the most beautiful beaches and most picturesque landscapes, but oh no, for the most part it's really boring. Most of the time you're just on inland motorways that are long, straight and really monotonous. And when you do get a glimpse of some beautiful cliffs or a lovely beach, it's just for a really short time and you're like, oh look at that, gone. I mean, one of the main attractions around Melbourne where I live is the so-called Great Ocean Road. And first of all, you really need to stretch out that drive to make a road trip out of it. So it's not that great to begin with because you can drive the whole thing in one afternoon and only a fraction of the time you're actually driving along the water. I guess I've been spoiled because in 2016 I spent 2 weeks driving in New Zealand and I remember every turn was just amazing and breathtaking. You didn't need to plan, you just jumped into the car and off we went to the most beautiful places. There was one road in particular that I remember where you had the mountains on one side and we were driving through what felt like the thickest jungle, and then on the other side of the road there was the ocean. What I have experienced so far here, Australia doesn't live up to that. And I know there are way more exciting drives in Australia, such as in Western Australia or far north Queensland, but you definitely have to plan more to find those. Number 3, AFL is the dumbest sport I've ever seen. Ooh, this one will get me into trouble. I can feel it.
Burn him!
AFL stands for Australian Football League, and guess what? They barely use their foot to play. Usually they run around holding the ball and throwing it around the field. What exactly does the foot do in this game, guys? There are like 18 people on the field for each team, so almost 40 players. What could possibly be the reason for having 18 players in your team? What does each of them do? I went to a game once and I didn't understand anything that was going on, and then there are like 3 giant goals on either side of the field that the teams are trying to kick the ball into. But these are massive. They're almost 20 meters in length, but there may still be occasions where people miss it. But guess what? If you hit a pole, you still get points. You probably think that this is really ignorant of me to say and I don't know what I'm talking about, and you're absolutely right. But in my defense, I'm used to German football / soccer where people actually use their feet and only their feet, and where the goal is a lot narrower, so it actually feels like a triumph when the ball lands in it. Number 4, certified documents are the devil's work. Now, this one gets my blood boiling every time. So in Australia, when you want to get a loan or submit documents for a visa application or any type of online forms really, you are often asked to provide certified copies of original documents such as your birth certificate, marriage certificate or driver's license. And certified copies are copies that have been signed by an authorized person that basically confirms that this copy is a true copy of the original. And authorized being the key word here. People who can certify documents are lawyers, police officers, but also pharmacists and post officers. And that's how they're often presented, you know? It's just pop over to your local post office or pharmacy and get it done, easy peasy. There's nothing easy about this. Every time I had to get documents certified and I went to a post office or pharmacy, the look you're getting when you pull out your documents is straight out of a horror movie. They hate you immediately and wish you all kinds of misfortune. Or they simply say, oh no, we don't do that here, or we're just too busy right now. Well, your website says you're doing it. I'm getting so much anxiety every time I need to have documents certified. Why are they making it so bloody difficult to get shit done? Number 5, Bondi Beach is not that special. Bondi Beach is the most popular beach in Australia and well known around the world. You can't really say you've been to Sydney without going to Bondi at least once. And sure, when you first visit Sydney, it can be really impressive. It's a large beach that's close to the city and it's so alive and buzzing, but there are much nicer beaches in Sydney. In Bondi, the promenade and surroundings are a bit run down, which I guess is part of its charm. It also gets really overrun with backpackers and tourists and people showing off, but I guess it's about whether you're vibing with that energy or not. I tend to choose Tamarama or Bronte as my go-to beaches in Sydney, which can get busy as well at times, don't get me wrong, but they are usually less stressful. Number 6, coffee in Australia is terrible. That's a lie. I take that back. It's incredible. I didn't really drink coffee before I came here, but now I'm fully converted. Quarter string flat white with skinny soy milk, extra hot and extra frothy in a keep cup. I'm all in. I'm speaking a language. Now the real number 6, healthcare is pretty bad. This is something I'm really struggling with. Coming from Germany, I'm used to just be able to go to the doctor whenever I wanted to, and treatment is never a question of money or how much cash you have to spare. This is really different here in Australia. While there is a universal healthcare scheme called Medicare, the cover is limited and there are out-of-pocket costs. And even if you have private health insurance on top of it, you can still easily pay hundreds of dollars for a specialist appointment or for going to the dentist. It's crazy. I once walked out of my doctor's office not paying and they called me like an hour later and were like, mate, where did you go? Because I simply forgot that I needed to pay something. I've given them all my cards and thought that's all it, but it wasn't. Number 7, Sydney is better than Melbourne. Ooh, another one that's really dicey. A rivalry as old as time. I lived in Sydney for 5 years and I've lived in Melbourne for a bit over a year now, and I gotta say, I'm not vibing as much with Melbourne as I did with Sydney. But that's just my personal preference and also based on where I come from. I lived in Berlin for 7 years before I moved to Australia, so I experienced a city that is full of history and culture and quirky things, and that's very similar to Melbourne, which is great. Now, what I couldn't have back in Germany was palm trees, beaches and humidity. So for me, being in Sydney always feels a bit exotic and a bit like I'm on holidays. So I'm just vibing a bit more with that. But whatever camp you're in, don't worry, I love you all. Number 8, Australians don't really appreciate their own country. Australia is a nation full of people that are desperate to travel, but not necessarily travel across Australia, which has some of the most amazing destinations. The places Australians want to go to couldn't be further away from Australia. Italy, Greece, Spain, Scotland. Australians have an obsession with going to Europe. You have to go at least once in your life. Not sure why exactly that is, but if I take a guess, I feel like Australians see themselves as a bit of a scrappy nation, and going to Europe makes them feel incredibly cultured and sophisticated. And with being part of the Commonwealth and part of the Eurovision, it makes them feel like deep down they are Europeans themselves. Which a lot of them are, you know, it's a country of immigrants and a lot of them came from Europe. It's so interesting to see because so many people, and especially Europeans look at Australia as their dream destination, which is why Australia is such a magnet for expats and backpackers. But Australians don't seem to appreciate what they have right in front of them. They can't wait for an opportunity to get out of the country, which we've seen during COVID. As soon as the borders opened, people were on a plane and out of here. See ya! There you go, these are my 8 unpopular opinions about Australia. I hope you enjoyed these or learned something, and if I got your blood boiling and you're hating me right now, if you've made it this far, I'll take it as a win. Remember to tell me about your unpopular opinions down in the comments below, and if you want me to do more of these, let me know. If you want to see more of my life here in Australia, check out the playlist up here. Give this video a like and subscribe if you want to stick around. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you over there. Take care.